What's going on? Can y'all hear me okay? Make sure this is working all right. Let's see. You can't hear me at all? Or let's see. How about now? Can you hear me? Oh. All right. Good deal. So if you're new here, we kind of just do questions and answers. That's typically what this is. I get questions asked a lot throughout the week. So this is kind of what I do this. Every now and then, I really don't have a lot of time to do it. But I do have a chance right now. So see if we can get some of the questions answered that might be out there. And this was kind of last minute, so probably not many people are going to be here. I really don't have anything to talk about, so until we get any kind of questions or somebody wants to talk about something, it's going to be kind of quiet in here, I guess. If it goes on for too long, I'll probably just cancel it and try to reschedule. It's really hard for me to schedule one of these just because I do have such a busy schedule, but we can try to do it for another date if we have to. Do you have a video that explains a ground rod? What do you like, how to install it or what it's really used for? Yes, how to install, and is it better to use one? I do not have a video out yet on how to install one. I'll do it. Um, I've been meaning to do it. You can actually do it without any tools, or like any kind of hammer or driver or like a rotary hammer drill. Um, Kind of a little technique to it, which I can do one day. I need to do it. Um, but yes, they are very beneficial. You want the path of least resistance to ground, and that gives you your best ground. So when you have one dedicated for your powder coating setup, that's going to be optimal. And typically, like 8 gauge wire is going to be sufficient, depending on how long your ground rod is away from your booth or how far away it is. You might need to go a little bit thicker wire if it's pretty far. But that's going to be the path of least resistance. So if you don't have a ground rod, you can run a long piece of wire. Your house or wherever you're running your shop or wherever you're running your powder coating setup, um, you should have a ground rod hooked to your electrical panel. So if needed, you could kind of scrape a little part clean on that and run it there. But it is best to do a dedicated setup for that. Yeah, I like to use stranded copper. Um, you can kind of get a little bit better connection at the little nut that you put on the ground rod itself. Um, Kind of squishes on there a little bit. And then for the other end, if you have a permanent setup, like on a booth with a hanging rod, and that's all you use, you could use a ring terminal and just like self tapper it into your booth itself. I have mine on um, a welding ground clamp. That way I can move it from my booth to my rolling rack and wherever else I might need it. Do you plan to get a shop one day? I don't know. I don't know that I necessarily plan on getting a shop. At least like paying somebody else for a shop. Uh, I plan to have a personal shop at a house, like at my next house that'll be building soon. I may build out a side of that dedicated for powder coat, kind of based around it and to what I need. But I doubt as of now, I don't have plans to have a separate shop. Um, I do work full time outside of this, and it's hard to beat that. So I, as of now, no though. Low overhead is the way to go, in my opinion. Yeah, and right now space is tight. I could use a shop, but like I said, I work full time, so trying to manage a full time job and a shop outside of this, I don't think it would be possible. And trying to find help, that's another thing that's an issue. So as of now, I plan to stay where I'm at, and we'll just see where it kind of goes from there. But I also am running the website and selling products now, so that's starting to take up more space. So I might need something one day though to expand, but I'd like to have it on my personal property, not really paying somebody else because that's to me that's wasted money. A lot of times there's no other way around it, but if I can avoid it, I would like to. What about you? Double H coatings? Are you in a shop or garage or home shop? Yes, home shop for now and working full time. Yeah, so you're kind of in the same boat as me. Um, and depending if you have benefits or not at work, that's something that working for yourself would not pay for. So that would be another expense that always crosses my mind. I would just have to make a jump. But powder coating would have to be quite a bit. It'd have to be really busy and for me to leave. So kind of at that point where I'll probably just as of now, like I said, I probably won't get an actual shop. But same shoes as you're in, yeah. Yeah, and it gets pretty hectic sometimes doing all these things. Yes, I definitely am wanting to go full time. Yeah, if you can do it, go for it. Um, I wish I could. I don't know that it'll happen for me. Um, but I mean, I'm okay where I'm at. I mean, it's I wouldn't call it a hobby because there's a lot of times that I get way more than I want, but or can handle at that time. I mean, But I don't know if I'd have to be real busy. And then there's times where I get too busy, and then work gets pushed back, and I don't know exactly how I'd make it with just by myself. So just trying to find that like happy medium of maybe getting some help and staying consistently busy. It's just not consistent enough for me to, because like I would need some help, and it hasn't been consistent enough. Um, it 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 gets real busy and then not, so it's kind of, it comes in waves. You seem to stay steady with work coming in the door. I do. I space it out kind of in the videos, but it'll be slammed one week, and then next week I won't hear from anybody. But like the week that I'm slammed, I don't advertise. Um, so then it hurts me the following week. So that's kind of where I'm at. But I do. I mean, I stay busy enough, that's for sure. I kind of work a crazy schedule at work too. Um, I have to work. I work on power lines full time, so there's a lot of times where I get stuck working late, and then it kind of just throws off the whole schedule. So, and then there'll be weekends I have to work, and so everything just gets kind of messed up when that happens. Are the RC ones in stock, or what's the lead time? It's like a couple days. I had a really big wave of customers, and like last week, and so I'm actually um, Tuesday. I'll have them Tuesday. I'll have another set. So they're not in stock right this second, but that's why on the website there's a lead time of like 3 to 4 days. So it'd be less than that really. But yeah, there's more on the way. Well, cool deal. I did not know you can do lives on YouTube. Now I have. Now I'll have a good night. Yeah, you too, man. Uh, Tyler, appreciate all you do. I'm loving my RC1. I'm glad to hear. I I get people tell me on Facebook that, or I don't have Facebook, but I hear a lot of people are sharing it on Facebook. If you're one of those, I appreciate it. Um, I get screenshots every now and then, but um, glad to hear you're liking it. Send me some work. Show me some pictures of your work. Feel free to email them to me. I'll put my email in here if you want to send them. I like seeing what people post or have. If you have an Instagram, tag me. I can share your work. Let's see. Royal coats. I'll put my Instagram on here. Do y'all have any other questions for me? I know this is kind of awkward, me just sitting here in front of the camera. I don't really have much to talk about though. Kind of all I do is work, powder coat. Nothing much outside of that. I definitely will. I do mostly motocross parts. I've been getting more valve covers, wheels, and F250 turbo pipes lately. Sweet. I've actually got a CR500 frame in the garage right now. Yeah, it's going gloss white. I don't know if they're doing like a replica of anything with it or not. I'm not sure, but loving the 1010p I got from you, buddy. That's good to hear. I've never used it. I am curious though how it compares to rim strip. Have you stripped any wheels with it yet, like factory wheels, or I mean, I guess like a powder coated part that you maybe messed up on? I'm curious, like how long it takes. I would say like a fresh powder coated part with rim strip takes probably 10 to 15 minutes. If it's something that's like a corner, like with a weld, like in a tight area, maybe 2 dips with 10 to 15 minutes. But yeah. I bought the upgrade kit for my Eastwood dual voltage blue and had nothing but issues with the Tornado tube. What am I doing wrong? Couldn't get powder to stick. I don't know. Email me. I just put my email up here. rollpowdercoats@gmail.com. Email me. Send me a video. It's really hard to troubleshoot without a video and knowing your setup. I mean, it's depends on your ground, your hooks, new powder, old powder, kind of what you're working with. So I've done a few powder coated parts. Takes about 15 or 20 minutes. I've had to do 2 dips on some stuff, but it doesn't take long at all. Okay. Well, yeah, that's cool then. I guess it's probably the same, maybe just a little bit more diluted. I mean, I'm not sure. Like I said, I've never actually used 1010p, but I mean, it doesn't sound very far off from rim strip, so that's cool. Have you accidentally got it on you yet? I'm curious if it burns. I'm sure it does. I ended up buying that $1,000 Gema I told you about. Also had to put about $1,500 worth of parts and labor in it, but it'll be here next week. Can't wait to try it out. So you had to put 15. Oh, that's okay. So you found the used one online, right? I can't remember. Wasn't it you looking at some from like Powder Finishing Pros or something like that too? Like a OptiFlex or an Opti something. I can't remember. I'm not sure if it was you or not. Any advice on my first rims? I got a set of Honda Civic rims. I stripped them, sandblasted them, and I have to spray them Monday. You're the man, powder coating wheels. The customer wants Honda yellow. Okay. Make sure you outgas them. This is kind of a lot of people do it differently. I outgas and then blast. That way, if anything rises to the surface, I blast it off. There's a lot of people that do blasting and then outgassing. Some people do blast, outgas, blast. So pick a way that works for you and roll with that. I'm not going to tell you anyone's right or wrong. Kind of a preference, but I sprayed them Monday. The customer wants Honda yellow. That's I think, isn't that like that fluorescent yellow? I'm not sure how much it helps. I think it'll help a little bit, but that color's probably gonna fade after a while since it is a fluorescent. Maybe a clear might help a little bit, but yeah, you could try that. I think those might get a brighter color too if you do a white base. You'll probably be okay without it, but I think you get a brighter color with that. I'm not sure if that's one of those or not. I'd have to look at it and see. Yes, ended up finding an OptiStar for $1,000 on Marketplace and bought it. Send it to First and Finishing to get it fixed. Okay, well, I mean, 2,500 bucks for a Gima at the end of it, if that's like your shipping and everything, that's not terrible. I think you'll like it, even if it is a little older. I mean, the technology in it's still going to be pretty good, so I think you'll be happy with it. Is it a box feed? If that's what you're going for. I blasted, then plan on outgassing. After outgassing, do you degrease if any contaminants raise? No, I outgas and then blast. That's pretty much it. Like if a contaminant comes to the surface when you outgas, it pretty much dries it out, and then when you blast it, it doesn't like if you have grease on a part and you outgas it. A lot of times it gets hard and dries, and then you can blast it off. It doesn't really smear after that. Um, you still do want to kind of like clean them as well as you can if they are super like just in general. If parts are super greasy, you kind of want to clean them off before you go through that process. Yes, sir. Prismatic Powders has it. It's like a highlighter yellow. I outgassed them for 4 hours this week. Okay. Yeah. I mean that you might want to spray a sample of it. It's probably going to be brighter over a white base. A lot of those fluorescents are, and it probably will end up fading to some degree over time. So I always let customers know that when it's spraying a fluorescent that they will start to dull and fade after a while. But doing my first set of wheels tomorrow. Some Weds Cruns. I'm not even sure what those are, so you're probably gonna laugh at me. Wheels, faces, and polished aluminum. Okay. I This might be bad advice, but I like to spray my polished aluminum hot. If not, I get like a bunch of little pinholes in it. I get those before I even get fully covered, like before I even get full coverage. So I don't know if that's something I'm doing or if it's just a powder, but I've heard of other people. I've got some buddies that powder coat, and I also talked to them, and they said they don't even mess with polished aluminum because they can't ever get a good finish out of it. So I'm gonna assume it's not me. But yeah, that's why I spray it hot, and then I usually get a pretty good finish that way. But do that at your own risk. Don't blame me if you mess them up. It's a box feed. I'm not sure the difference in an OptiStar and an OptiFlex though. My OptiStar has the same screen and everything as the OptiFlex. They made them between 2012 and 2018. So it's not that old. I mean, it could be 5 years old, could be 11 years old. Yeah, I mean, it might have a little bit different internals. I'm not sure. I didn't even know what a Gima was in 2018. I probably did a little bit, but I started in like 2016. So, yeah, I don't know too much about those. I really started paying attention to them like when I got mine, and then now they have like the Opti Pro or something like that that has Bluetooth and all those bells and whistles that I don't need. So, but I mean, even when I was looking at getting mine, there was no used ones around here. Um, but a lot of the forums even said buy a used one if that's all you can afford over I don't know what, like the cool coats and stuff like that. So I mean, I'm sure it's going to be just fine, especially now since you got it fully repaired. Did they give you any warranty with the repairs? And do you know what was wrong with it? They were corroded pretty bad, but my work has a hydro blaster I use. They came out pretty clean. I don't even know if I should outgas. Yeah, you should outgas. I would recommend it. When you have a porous metal like that, like a cast aluminum, I assume they're cast. I don't know if you said that or not. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna assume they're aluminum. But you should outgas aluminum, especially when it's a cast, because they trap in air and things like that, and there could be stuff embedded down in the metal that won't come out until you bake it, and you don't want to put powder coat on the wheels and then pull them out of the oven and find a bunch of crap in them. So, or air bubbles and things like that. So that's why I would outgas. You can if you don't want to, you don't have to. But I do. They are forged aluminum according to the wheel manufacturer. Yeah, I mean, it's up to you. I still would. I would still outgas them. It's kind of a labor free thing. You just throw them in the oven and let them sit for a while. But I mean, if you don't, I mean, you can chance it. It's nothing. I mean, nothing might happen. I think a lot of these like big time wheel companies that like wheel repair places, I don't think they're doing all those steps. Doesn't make it right, but I think those are coming out fine for the most part. Except for the one set I got that they tried to weld onto a titanium bolt with like a MIG welder and like melted the face. But another wheel repair guy brought those to me to have them done correctly. So, anyways, mainly wanted to buy one just for the recoat setting, controller, and red switch in the gun was bad. Throttle motor in the control unit was bad, and they had to do a complete pneumatic refurbish. Oh, dang. Controller. Huh. I wonder how something goes that bad. Previous owner ran oil and moisture in it for a long time. Also had the wrong pickup tube, and a few parts were missing. $1,500 for all the parts I needed, and only $200 of it was labor. Well, that's not bad. I mean, you're gonna have a pretty much new Gema now for $2,500, so I think you'll be set. Which company do you use most for powders? I was using Columbia Coatings, but I've recently gone to Prismatic because they have better deals buying in bulk and on shipping. So since I'm pretty much a job shop, and I order most of my powder per job, I do use Prismatic a lot. I do not like some of their powders, but you'll kind of figure that out as you go. Me and other guys have issues with certain colors, like candy golds being like for one. Keep in mind they're spraying their samples in a perfect world, pretty much on a flat panel with no base. They're aluminum bases, so that's why a lot of their samples will come out looking perfect. There's no contours, there's no corners, no Faraday areas or anything like that on them. So just keep that in mind. I hate their ink black. I've never liked it. I almost gave up powder coating because of their ink black. I would spray the stuff on there, a cool part or a room temperature part, so thick that it wouldn't back on. I mean, I guess it would a little bit, but I didn't get the starburst, but it would start like building up and you could see it like when I'd stop spraying, it would still just kind of like raise. I was spraying it so heavy, but it's still getting the light brown spots in it. So I use Tiger's wet black now. I do like Tiger's powders a lot, but unless you're buying a 44, I think, pound box, they're crazy expensive. If you buy their 5-pound boxes, you're gonna spend like a minimum of $20 a pound, even for a gloss black. So, but like a gloss black, if you're gonna powder coat it for any amount of time, you can buy a big box of it. It sucks at first, especially if you buy it for one set of wheels. You're pretty much gonna do the set of wheels for free, but um, then your next one, you have the powder already, so you're good to go. But I value your opinions. Trying to start a career for myself. My area only has one company and a 60-mile radius, so I for sure want my quality to be top notch. Okay, well, I mean, if you're trying to start a career out of it, um, then definitely don't cut corners. Um, I mean, if you do it and it comes out good, then you didn't do anything wrong. But it's one of those things. What's it worth to you to chance it and have to redo it if something were to come out wrong? That's why I would do it, because if not, you're going to be stripping again, buying more powder, and then you're going to be outgassing that time if you don't do it this time, and that's what causes it to mess up. So those are things you got to think about. It's not necessarily the end result, because if you're trying to do top-notch quality, then you're not going to let it leave without a good result anyways. I'm also a job shop like you in South Carolina. Okay, yeah. So, yeah, prismatic for the most part. I have a clear in a big box. I have a white in a big box, which is kind of hard, because people that want white, they want it to match their cars always. At least for me, or a specific shade of white, and all whites are different. So take that for what it's worth. And then I have a big box of gloss black. All those are from Tiger Dry Lake, in case you're not familiar. Let's see. When you do wheels in gloss black to any basic colors, do you only do one coat? Okay, so for my solid tones on wheels, I pretty much started doing kind of a light coat, and both of these are at room temperature. Just so we know that. I pretty much do a light coat. I throw it in, and like just as it starts to gel, where it gets that like rough kind of glossy sheen to it, I try to pull it then. But that's when I pull it. I let it cool, and I throw another coat on there. That kind of helps with those little like micro, almost like pinholes, bubbles. Even after outgassing and doing all the prep work, it helps with that. So I'm spraying 2 on a lot of them. It's extra work, but it's if you do have a light spot, it covers that. And then the finish looks better. It's more work for me, but you get a happy customer. So it's one of those things. It's what's it worth to you. But Columbia for black for sure, on my opinion. Yeah, I've one of my buddies, that's all he uses, and all his stuff looks like it comes out great. I've never used it. I didn't really know about their gloss black when I bought my big box of Tiger Dry Lake's wet black. So I don't know, maybe I'll give it a try when this runs out. But until then, I'm just gonna keep using what I got. Hate ink black too. It was the first color I've ever shot, and it was so discouraging. It would pull super hard on the sharper edges. Yeah, if you're watching this at a later date, I do not recommend ink black. Yeah, it made me want to quit. Definitely. I didn't understand it. But now I do, looking back, and I don't touch it. Ordered your Eastwood attachment kit about a week ago. Can't wait to use it tomorrow. Sweet. Thanks for ordering. I promise I'll outgas. Alright, good deal. Have you used green salt for stripper, or if not, what is your go-to stripper to strip parts? I use Rim Strip. It's a methylene chloride based, or it has a methylene chloride activator in it. You can actually find those on my website. I'm now a dealer for them. So if you want to help support, prices are the same as the Express Chem's website. There's no difference. Same shipping times, everything. You'll just be helping support me and the channel. If you're interested, feel free to email me. They are on the website, royalcoatspowdercoating.com. There is some eco ones on there. There is one that is supposed to be heated as well, which would work similar to green solve. I have not used it. I do not have a heated tank. I can't justify. I kind of did some math on what it would cost me to run like a 50. Oh, sorry. I think it was like a 85-gallon metal drum and a heater, and it would cost me like $200 roughly a month, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it would sit there a lot and do nothing as well. So I couldn't justify it for myself. So yeah, I use rim strip. I used to be a Columbia coatings guy, but as of late, they seem more expensive and shipping is terrible compared to Prismatic. How do you like the Tiger Dry? Like, yeah, that is a good thing about Prismatic is usually it's here within days. I can get a job and you can almost start prepping it and your powder shows up. I do like Tiger Dry like a lot for my big box powders. For small quantities, like I said a little bit ago, they're not cheap. They definitely get you on those. I wish they would come up with a way. They don't even have to sell 1 pounds. I'm okay with that. But when you sell a big box powder for $10 a pound, and when I say big box, I'm talking like 40 pounds around that. Theirs is like 44. They have some I think that are 40s and some are 20s. They go all over. But when you can sell powder at say $10 a pound at 40 pounds, and then you order 5 pounds and it's over double, it's kind of crazy to me. I wish they would come up with a better way for that for smaller people like some of us, or myself at least. Because I do like their powders, and I don't know if they think the money's not there, and it may not be. I'm not in the actual powder selling industry, so I'm not sure. They might have to completely reconfigure their selling and everything to get that down, but I think they should figure it out, personally at least. I also value your opinions. You're a huge inspiration to me, and I love your content on Instagram and your lives on YouTube. I appreciate it. That means a lot. It's good to know that I'm helping some people out there and making it worth it, because this is a lot of work. I'm sorry I haven't posted many videos lately. I do have a couple that I need to post. Oh, I gotta edit them. I go nonstop all day long. If you're here earlier, I work on power lines full time during the day. I have a family. I have 2 little kids, a wife, and then I powder coat, and then I sell stuff, or then I do the website. So it's a cycle that never ends. Not a bad thing, but I do what I can. On a scale of 1 to 10, how bad do you hate sandblasting? It depends on like how long I'm blasting for. If it's just like one thing that's gonna take like 5 minutes, it's super satisfying. If it's gonna take 5 hours, I absolutely hate it, like 10. One more question. Ask all you got. You're good. That's what this is for. When applying clear, do you bake the primary coat first, then spray clear, or spray one on top of the other and then bake? You spray your base coat. You do a flow out, like 3 minutes past 3 minutes past flow out or gel. And you take it out, let it cool, and then you can spray your clear on top of that. Where are we at? Let's see. Anytime I use wet black from Tiger Dry Lake, the customer asks if it's still wet. That's a good thing. I get a lot of people that they send me pictures of work I've done before in wet black, and they're like, I want this chrome finish. And I'm like, no, that's gloss black. Or they'll be like, I want black chrome. And I'm like, I don't offer it. Um, and then they send me that picture, and I'm like, that's gloss black. Bare Metal Stripper is doing a $710 for 55-gallon sale right now. That's pretty cheap. I don't know anything about that though. I've never used it. Does the rim strip seem to evaporate pretty quickly? That's the only thing pulling me more towards trying out the green solve with the 55-gallon drum and heating band. I'm in Texas, and it stays in my garage, which is not climate controlled. I have one of those Eagle overpack drums, and I don't notice it evaporating. I think I lose a lot more of it coming off of the part, and like when I put it in my neutralizing tank. But it definitely pays for itself, so I don't really, like I said, I am a job shop, so it does sit there for a long time, and get used a little bit sometimes and a lot sometimes. But I wouldn't say it's like a noticeable evaporation. I'll go months without refilling it and still using it, so it works great for me. I do want green solve, but it would cost me about, I think the setup I was going to go for is going to be about $3,500, and then you have to pay to run it every month. If you're worried about evaporation, you're probably not going to evaporate $200 worth of rim strip every month, so you can kind of factor that into your cost, if that helps you any. Let's see. William, rim strip has a wax chemical that floats to the top to help evaporation. 55 gallons lasts a year for me. Yeah, it does. It has the wax when you first put it in your tank or whatever kind of drum you're going to use. And you can also use water. You can put water in it, and it floats to the top and kind of helps with evaporation. I've never added water to mine. I just let it do its thing. You have helped me a ton since I started. I started in 2021. Sweet. Going on 2 years now. That's awesome. Good to know. Thanks, Brief. Oh. Richie, for clears, you would do the first coat, put it in the oven for about a 6% cure, then let it cool down. Excuse me, then clear over it then clear, then oven for clear coat for 100%. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Gonna have to send me a video of how to clean your Gema for a color change, so I'll know when I get mine. Yeah, just contact me. Maybe I can do a video on it one day. Shoot me a message, and I can kind of walk you through the steps too. Okay, sweet. Thank you. Yeah, you're welcome. If that was from me, I've done got sidetracked. What's your thoughts on primer and when to use them on what applications? I leave primer up to the customer. I've noticed some people are really hard on that, like on the social media world. They trip out if you don't put a primer on it or something. Most coaters around here, as far as I know, don't put a primer on it, on their parts. We have a humid climate, like a lot of humidity here, but there's no salt on the roads, and there's no salt in the air. We're far enough away from the coast, so we don't really have any rust. If you're in a highly corrosive area, then yeah, you might want to only offer it with primer. But I'm not in one of those areas. Like I said, as far as I know, nobody around me is just doing it to do it. I'm definitely not going to do it for free. But if a customer wants it, I have no problem spraying it. If it's something that's going to sit out like in a yard and somebody wants it to last a really long time, then I mention it. I let them know about it. but then I completely leave it up to them. I don't force anybody. I don't force any colors on anybody. I'm still, I'm not some. I don't know. I don't. Let's see. But another thing on the primers, you want to use a zinc primer or the zinc, the one that has a zinc additive. You want to use it on steel, and you want to use the epoxy on aluminum. And some people use the primers if they're having trouble with outgassing. If they've got a little bit rougher surface, some people will spray a primer and kind of smooth it with that. To me, that would be the only thing I'd use it for around here. Like, but then still, I'm still gonna make somebody pay extra for it. It's not really necessary. Same with clears on a lot of colors. Some colors it is highly recommended, depending on where the parts are gonna be. So it all kind of is based on your location and what they're going to be doing with the parts and what the customer wants to do. I have a scat blast, sand blaster, and a pressure pot running in it. Like you, what sand do you like the best? Have you ever tried Columbia coating sand? Are you talking about their 10X? I don't know. I don't know if Columbia sells an actual sand. If they do, I haven't seen it. But I use Green Diamond. I believe it's 3060 or 6030. It's an extra fine. I think it's 3060. But I do like it. It gets kind of dusty, but you're putting out a lot more media in a small space. So it is what it is. I just deal with it. Green solve evaporates fast, I heard. I mean, without a proper lid on it, it would make sense that it would. I mean, it's heated. You open it up and it steams. So I think you're right about that. I haven't heard that, but it would make sense. But a lot of them do put them in like a sealed container, so that would help with that. The KFX1 is the best bang for your buck. Yeah, I mean, I've seen good things about those. Like, once you get a few of the kinks worked out, I would definitely go for something like that over one of like the higher end cool coat systems. I've never been a fan of those personally. I feel like it's just a glorified hyper smooth or their base model cool coat. Yeah, so that's my thoughts on that. Let's see. Man, I've never felt the need to use primer. I can take a hammer and beat apart for a whole minute and not get a single chip. I don't believe adhesion is an issue. Now corrosion is a different story. Yeah, I think a lot of it's based on corrosion, and like I said, here we don't have salt, so maybe up north or where it freezes, or if you're on the coast, might be a different story. But then you're probably still going to leave it up to the customer because you're not just going to spray it for free. So zinc primer for filling in dimples. Wet sand and clean, then coat the color. Love primer. Are you charging for that? Or are you just doing that? Just bought a Columbia gun and honestly regret it terribly. Won't lay second and third coats to save my life. I have better results with my Eastwood gun. Yeah. Which one did you buy? Because, I mean, you can lay second and third coats. It's going to be, I mean, it's probably going to be a little bit more challenging than the KFX one. But depending on which one you bought, I mean, you could be talking about a big price difference. William, we just finished a brassy gold job that requires a chrome base, and it took us 3 to 4 coats to get it even. KFX1, check it out. Yeah, I don't like brassy golds or or candy brasses, candy coppers, any of those. But glad you got it figured out. Yeah, nothing free. We charge for everything and anything. Yeah, so I mean, if somebody's willing to pay for it, I mean, yeah, I'll do it. Not too much on the bodywork side of things, or the body working, or sanding and shaping. Yeah, I'm kind of not down for that. That's a lot of work for me, and I'll pass. I'll sand the barrels and stuff, like if they got curb rash, but yeah, I'm not much on the body work. I got the Cool Coat 3.0 DPW. Isn't that one like $1,800? Somewhere around that. Let's see. Oh, it's like oh no, that's eBay. It's like 1,200, I guess. Yeah, so that's like 1,200. Was it come with a hopper and a gun? Yeah, I definitely think they're overpriced. Never been a fan of the Cool Coats. That's just me though. I think there's better systems out there for just a little bit more. William, that's the problem I have with my Hyper Smooth. As soon as I get a Faraday area, it's pretty much shot. The next hour is trying to do everything I can to get the part covered. Yeah, I mean, but we're also talking about, depending on which Hyper Smooth you have. I mean, the base Hyper Smooth is like $600 or $700, and then the base Cool Coat's like double that. So, I mean, you definitely, in powder coat guns, you definitely get what you pay for. That's why there's $5,000+ guns out there. It's not a gimmick. You definitely, pro level guns is definitely where it's at, but not everybody can swing that. So it took me a long time to do it, and even when I did, I had buyer's remorse. And I hated it at first. I had a Hypersmooth 02 for my second system after the Eastwood that everybody starts with. And I hated my GEMA for like a couple months. Kept using my Hypersmooth 02, and then I finally switched. But yeah, it took me a while to get adjusted to it. There's a learning curve to everything. Like you buy a better gun, then you hate it. You still want to use the cheaper one that you have. You just got to adjust to it. You got to learn new techniques, which I have to tell people that a lot when they go from an Eastwood to the RC1 that I sell. Excuse me, they have to adjust. It's not the same. You have to use different spraying techniques and things like that. Let's see. The only reason I even wanted a GEMA was to help out with Faraday areas and stuff. Makes me not want a powder coat when I spend most of the day fighting that stuff. Yeah, I mean, even with my GEMA, I still do though. It definitely gets in a lot better and easier to a lot of spots, but there's also a lot of spots that it won't get in at all either. So, which maybe it's something I'm doing wrong. I won't sit here and say I'm perfect. So, it was the worst job of my life. 100-pound, 25-inch, 10-inch wide rims and lift kit. Huge headache, and we'll be charging 3 times for that color. Yeah, I won't touch them. I haven't seen yours, but I haven't seen many that have come out great. So yeah, I avoid it. Um, I, yeah, I stay away from candy golds, coppers, brasses, all those. I had the Hyper Smooth 03. Why'd you hate your Gema at first? Because I was using the Hyper Smooth 02, and I had that down to how I liked using it. And I tried to use my Gema how I use my Hyper Smooth, and it didn't work. I would spray stuff and it wouldn't stick. It was weird. Like the people that purchased the RC1 from that are moving up from the Eastwood, some of them say they have issues with it sticking or something simple, and I tell them just to work with it a little bit, adjust. Kind of the same thing I dealt with when I went from my Hyper Smooth to my Gema, just on a different scale. But yeah, it took me a little bit to get adjusted to it, but I love it now. So Lucas, you gotta learn the numbers and settings all over. Yeah, you gotta learn your air pressures too, because you can change like the nozzle rinse, and there's different air pressure settings and things like that. Your microamps, your kV. There's just a few different things, and once you get it down, it'll be all right. Do you keep your air compressor inside your garage? I moved mine inside after a few weeks, and it seems much better as far as water and drainage. I do keep it inside. It's in like a separate room in my garage. I still get a ton of moisture because we have a ton of humidity here, but I have a ton of filters. So it's I've got a refrigerated air dryer, and then like 4 filters after that go to my powder coat gun. Just trying to make sure it's clean. You can't have too much. So but we got any more quick questions? I've been on for about an hour. This is all I really plan on staying. So if we got any more quick questions, I'll answer them. But other than that, I'll be bouncing soon. I'll tell you from a personal experience, it'll cost a lot to fix the Gema if you don't run clean air. Yeah, I accidentally. So I had a filter setup that had an oil, like a lubricator side on it, and somehow it filled up with moisture from my compressor, and it ran it through my air lines and ran it through my Gema, and it was a nightmare. Yeah, so I threw that thing in the trash. So yeah, I can agree with that. Appreciate all of your knowledge and help. Have a good one. You too, man. Thanks for tuning in. You too, Brief Lean. Have a good night. What PSI do I need to run my hopper on? I have a Yamaha YFZ 450 frame to do between 30 and 40. Yeah, anywhere from 20 to 40. A lot of powders are different. Some way more than others, which will kind of affect how it fluidizes and how it sprays and things like that. So you'll have to adjust accordingly. You too, Lucas. Take it easy. All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and sign off. It's good talking to y'all tonight. Hope I was able to help y'all with some of y'all's questions. But it's getting late here, so I'll try to do this again sooner than later. I got some videos coming up. I just got to edit them. So until next time, take it easy.